Being a Christian woman and walking in God's calling for our lives can be a difficult task. With the world and pop culture telling us to be one way, and the Bible saying another, you kind of end up feeling like an other. Well, you're not alone. Join me now and my friends as we navigate life in our 20s and 30s, while making sure we live out our faith, embrace our femininity, and looking cute. We discuss pop culture, life, careers, relationships, and so much more. Prepare to be entertained and educated. I know you're going to love it. Join our movement and embrace being another girl. The views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not reflect our employers. Enjoy. You are listening to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm Mallory.
And I'm Isabel.
And we are changing culture and bringing back traditional values.
Yes,
Welcome
we are.
back, Isabel.
Thank you so much, Mel.
So much has changed since you were last on. Any big news? Anything happened in your personal life?
I'm just kidding.
What a reveal.
No.
Like, oh my goodness, to get that exclusive. Oh my goodness.
You're like, right?
When it's
Yes.
time, remember me.
You're like, wait a second, I wasn't ready for that. Why do I feel like a celebrity? You know, like celebrities, they go, they pick their one news channel to like give the news. Anyways, no, guys, not unfortunately. Anyways, let me just start over. Hello, I have missed y'all. I have missed you, Mal. No big news. I mean, life is lifing. I did turn 30 a few months ago, so I guess that's a big accomplishment. Thank you, Lord, for keeping me and, letting me see 30. So that
Amen.
was fun. So yeah, I did my 30th. I was kind of super just busy month of February. January was like slow. February was like my birthday, so I was planning I did a girls' brunch, and then my parents threw me a birthday party. And then March was just kind of like getting back into the groove of things. My first video went viral finally after like years of being in social media. Not me like
Yes. Just
not me being
remember
the
this
biggest fan.
podcast when you become like famous. Please remember this podcast.
Girl, of course. You guys, this is where I got my first big break.
Yeah, no, please like remember it and like just
You're like, but don't forget, seriously.
yeah, like please.
No, I
I
love
know we're
it.
laughing, but like remember me. No,
Too
but that's
funny, Mel.
cool.
Yes, my first video went viral, and literally, I think right now it's like 1.5 million views, and I'm like, "Are you freaking serious?"
Wow.
It's funny because my boyfriend's hand is in the video, and I'm like, "Look, babe, we're famous," and he's just like, "What?" Like, it's also kind of cool because I feel like a lot of people, especially like if you have someone in your life that's like not anti-social media, but they're just not really active, it's kind of cool to be like, "Look, like, you know." So he's like, "Oh wow," like. He's like, "Are you gonna be able to do it again?" I'm like, "I'm gonna try, but we're famous, so just all you need to know." But anyway, so yeah, that was pretty cool actually. And then yeah, just pretty much been hanging out with the family, my nieces and nephews. Obviously, we just had Easter. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. What about you?
Cool. Yeah, I guess I haven't really done any life updates recently on the pod. I can't really think of anything. I'm redoing the jewelry store. Like
Love that.
I feel like I've technically had this jewelry store since like the 5th grade, but when you're younger, you're kind of like, here, in class, like
Yeah,
buy this ring. So like I've been doing this thing for
you're
years,
hustling.
because I actually in one of my friends group chats we were talking about so I'm going to be a vendor at an event. I guess I should say it is actually going to be I'm a vendor for the jewelry store, not the podcast, but I will be having invitations to the tea party at the table.
I love that.
Yeah, sometimes you got to cross brand. So Matthews United
Pretty
Methodist
honey.
Church is having a like a women's entrepreneurship brunch. So even if you don't own a business, but if you're
Oh,
a content creator as well, I think something in this for Christian women. So I think it'll be really good. There's going to be a speaker and everything. So anyway, so I told some of my friends, I was like, hey, are any of you guys interested? We don't really talk about entrepreneurship. And they're
yeah.
all like, no, like I have no desire for that. And I'm like, okay, well, this is my desire my entire life. Working for
So
someone
come
else, like
support.
Right. Or not even. I'm
Yeah.
just like, this is how we're different because like working for someone else like drains my soul.
Yeah.
And you guys enjoy it. Can't relate. Like that's just not how I work. But anyway, so I'm
Yeah.
doing the jewelry store. I guess that's like the biggest thing. Working more with the podcast. As you guys know, it's shifted a little bit because it's back to literally just me, and I'm trying to bring
Yeah.
in as many people as possible because I really do like having guests
And your
and
stuff
like,
is really cute. I'm so excited to get my stuff, by the way. No, like
yay.
genuinely. I'm like, I want it's the big accessories. It's giving.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm so excited. And then some of the stuff that Isabel's going to be modeling soon, we haven't released. I'm
Just
saying
kidding.
we, it's literally just me, everybody. I
I say that all the time because I was gonna say manifesting, but we're speaking into existence. Okay, girl,
yes.
we are entrepreneurs. We are
Yes.
those girls, those
Yes.
other girls. Okay, you see how I
Yes.
did that? Okay, hire
Yes.
me.
Yes. And if I had the money, I would. If I had the money, I would. And that leads me to, if you want to join the Patreon. No, I'm just joking. Well, no, like I'm serious. Join the Patreon, but yeah. So, I forgot what. Oh yeah, I was so with the podcast. I've been working on some things, and I really want to have more guests and like pulling that and everything. So
So fun.
if you guys are listening, you're like, you know what, I kind of want to do a TCAP with you. Let me know. Like, I want to do TCAPs with people. I also can see in the analytics you guys want me to do TCAPs with people. So
Oh,
that's fine. That's that's
you're
okay.
like you're not hurting. And honestly, I literally invite myself most of the time.
No,
Like
and
I'll
I love
DM you,
it.
and I'm like, "Hey Mal, like, what's up, girl? I haven't been on your podcast."
No, I love it. Like if
But
we
I've been catching
can.
myself, huh?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I know. I was just saying, like, I've been catching myself, like, talking to myself a lot. I'm like, I think it's time for an episode because I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah,
So I'm just
yeah.
like,
Like
sure.
if you want to keep coming on more, like we can try to coordinate. I will say, like,
Love that.
Isabel is a queen. She is
Thank
busy,
you.
busy, busy content. No, literally, she's like doing so much. So sometimes our schedules are kind of like whoosh, but like I really do want to do more. Anyway, that's
I
all
know.
that's going
We
on.
just have a good time. Thank you, girl.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I will
See, this is why
say,
you're my friend. Just feel so refreshed when I'm with you. Tell me how
of
beautiful and great I am. I'm just
I
kidding.
mean, it's the truth. Like I'm being honest. Another thing is like we both another I guess problem we have is like we decided to do
No
our catch
problem.
up. Well, it is kind of quote unquote problem. We decided
Yeah,
to
we're going to the
record.
couples therapy.
Well, I'm just saying like we were starting to record our catch up because like if we
Yes,
caught up before we recorded, it'd be like an hour
literally.
and we hadn't even started the podcast. And
It's
that's
bad.
just something that we're working on. Anyway,
Exactly. But
um
today we do good. We're doing good,
yeah.
sis. We got
Yeah,
this.
we've done good. It's just been 6 minutes that we've caught up. I'm trying to think of anything else.
I know. I
No,
feel like I always tell you updates like on via phone or text or
same.
audio, but I'm just like, wait, what's going on? Like, what happened?
Right. You should
But
like write down like, okay, so what has happened in my life that I haven't told you?
literally,
But it's
I'm
funny
like,
because like I feel like
literally.
I've told you pretty much everything. I can't think of anything else.
I feel like there's been a lot of
Situation.
pop culture moments that have happened. Like we were like, oh my gosh, girl, yes, I saw that. Or like, oh my God, yes, and then we'll have thoughts about it. But now I'm just like, I'm going blank.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's also pretty late in the evening. It's like 6 p.m. my time. It's what, like almost 8 o'clock your time?
Yeah, and whew, that's late
My
for
second
me,
cousin.
girly. That's late 8. Oh my, it's almost time for bed.
And working full time and then honestly I do admire you, Mal. Like I really have to say that. And I know you're
Thank
the
you.
host, so I'm gonna give you the kudos because like
Stop.
you literally do the most. And I mean you're running your own, like you're doing your podcast and you're trying to get guests. Like obviously that takes time to just even go back and forth, try to, handle the schedules and stuff. And then I know I'm a diva to work. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my God, speaking of diva, we have to talk about J-Lo. Have you seen the TikToks about her?
Oh,
Girl. Okay,
okay.
okay, wait. So
You go
then,
first. You go first. You go first.
no, I was gonna say remind me, but no, I just wanted to
Okay.
give you kudos because I feel like you do so much. Like literally, guys, every time I text Mel or like calling you, like you're like, girl, I'm at work or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. Like it's like straight to business, honey. She didn't got time to play, okay? So if you want to date Mel, you better get on her schedule. Trying to be a matchmaker. But seriously, I'm so proud of you. And you're doing
Thank
amazing things.
you.
You're doing amazing, sweetie, and Kris Jenner.
Thank you. I love
And
you so
honestly,
much.
Of course, Queen, and I always have so much fun coming to your podcast. Like seriously, and I need to make an effort to come on here more, especially now that I'm doing social media full time. I guess I should say that. So yes, if the secret is out, I am doing full time content creation. But anyways, but yeah, I'm so proud of you, and hopefully I can keep coming on, and we can just talk and have a good time, and
Yeah,
people can
thank
follow us and make that's it. Like that's
yeah.
it.
And we can go viral and go tour and like everybody can laugh. But that's for the future. That's for the
Exactly.
future. Yeah.
I hope
Um
exactly.
okay, so let's talk quickly about J-Lo. Um
Yes,
I'll
girl.
explain because like I've heard a bajillion, not a bajillion, but like I've listened to a couple podcasts talk about it. So I'll explain for those that don't know really quick.
Yes.
This is what's going on with J Lo. She created a movie about her life that's also an album. No company would buy it, so she said, "I'll do it myself," and she produced it. It has been terrible ratings. I haven't seen it. We should
I haven't
see it and
either.
review it. We should
I saw
see
the
it and review.
trailer because of the TikTok people. I swear,
Yeah,
TikTok is like my newscast, not newscast, news channel.
network. Yeah. No. Okay. So
Literally.
I saw the trailer too, and I was like, I don't understand the plot. The plot doesn't make sense.
My ADHD brain was like trying to figure out, like, girl, a mess. I was just laughing at the comments. The comments kill me.
What are some of
They're
the
like,
stuff you saw?
it was just like they're like stop saying she's from like Jenny is not from the block. Like just like I don't even know. I can't remember, but they were just so funny. I'm like they're like no one loves J Lo like J Lo loves J Lo. I'm like,
Yeah, and
and have you seen that video with the hair? And she's like, I'm a girl from the Bronx. She's like, I'm just a little girl. I'm like, not a little girl. Like what? And apparently her husband. I'm like, what the heck? Girl, I was dead. I was laughing at the comments. I was like, not little girl. And she just, and then there was a video of her saying like, what was she saying? Oh, she was telling this guy, she goes back to the Bronx or wherever she was from. Um, and and then like she's like, I'm Jennifer Lopez. Like she tells this like random guy, and the guy's like, who? She's like, Jennifer Lopez.
hey,
I'm laughing because I was like, I'm like, every time I talk about myself or something, like it reminds me of J Lo. I'm like, I need to have that confidence.
no. Well, two things I was gonna say. First of all, why on
Seriously.
earth would you keep that clip? I wouldn't have put it in there. That's not
The
something
guy's
I
like,
would have put.
who?
And then number two, like, I have a hot take. Though it be
Yeah.
crazy, though it be a waste of money, she's real for that. Like, good for her.
Like,
Nobody
no,
believed in
seriously.
her. And she said she was gonna do it. It's been a failure, but she did it, like,
Exactly. And honestly, everyone's just like, and I'm not being mean. I just think it's
oh no,
funny,
it's
like whatever. And
hilarious.
also, it's like, okay, first of all, like, and then J Lo, what is she? They're like, she just needs to stop making documentaries. I'm just like, but I also think like my voice cracked. I also think like it's the timing of it all. I feel like because of inflation and the economy and everything, it's just like people are just so fed up with celebrities. Like
Yeah.
I can't even pay my light bill and I'm supposed to watch your documentary about how rich
Right.
you are. Like
Right, right.
it's a little tone deaf, which again, I don't really care either way. It doesn't affect me, but it's just funny to like I get on the comment. I'm there for the comments and and
Yeah.
eating popcorn and like reading off comments. But am I gonna comment? No.
It's
It's just funny.
it's
It's
so
really funny.
funny. It's so funny. She loves herself. And you know what?
And
Like,
honestly, she
we can
doesn't
all
care. She's
learn.
sleeping good at night.
Yeah.
Like she's
Oh,
fine.
100%. Honestly, us talking about it probably helps her because the more we talk
Exactly.
about it, I am kind of interested to see it just to say, like, I saw this thing. So, I mean, we're helping her. I mean, we're kind of her
Exactly.
PR team right now, if.
Exactly.
So,
And then back to the really quick, the Selena. My sister was telling me, and I don't know how accurate this is, but my sister was telling me, that in like the Selena movie, right? She was like, yeah, like other celebrities, like Latina, celebrities at the time were being asked to do the movie. Selena, like I think Salma Hayek. I want to say Salma Hayek. I don't know.
whoa, she would have been good at
Don't take
that.
my word for this, guys,
Okay.
but like apparently that's what my sister told me. And the Salma Hayek was like, no, like she declined because she was like, I don't want to be basically famous or have my career take off because of someone that passed away or like a celebrity that basically making myself famous from someone's death. But like obviously J Lo was like, psych, give me the mic, I'm ready to go. Like she obviously took that opportunity, which kind of sucks because I feel like there's no winning with that because
No, I don't think that's
if
wrong.
she,
I think she's
you
okay
know
for
what I
what
mean?
she did. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know, but at the same time, like I started thinking like I feel like there's no winning because if Jennifer did that and she didn't become famous, she would have been like, okay, whatever, no one would have said anything. But because she did that, she'll always be known as that girl, you know? Like I don't know if
Yeah.
I would have done it, but like I guess her, even if she didn't do it with those, who knows her intentions? But even if she didn't do it, it's like almost everyone's gonna think that she did, you know? She's just
Yeah.
like
Well,
she
I
can't
also,
win
the
at some
thing
age.
is, I will say, I also feel like if if it's a good documentary and you do it well, you can spin it as like you're paying like, not homage, that's not the right word. Is homage the right? You're paying like,
I don't know.
you're respecting the artist that has
Yeah.
died if you do it right. Now there's people who've done terrible documentaries and like, wow, you basically spit on their grave. But like, I think that if it was done right. So I haven't seen the Selena movie, but like I've seen clips because it's a
Oh, okay.
pop
You haven't?
culture.
Okay, no.
I haven't seen the
Girl,
full thing, but I've seen clips.
that was like
uh
literally my childhood. I came out the womb
Really?
like watching that movie. Well, not really, because I was one when Selena died.
Okay.
So that was like
I know the
we're not gonna
story
say
because
the
it's
age.
like true crime, but
Not true
uh
crime.
it is,
Anyways,
I hate
but
to say it, but yeah, anyway, like now we're taking a dark turn. So back to Loving and Light.
back to
Uh
me. I'm kidding.
um the next thing, okay, so one of the things that I wanted us to like talk about since we're chatting is like, I think we give great advice. I mean, that's just my personal
Period.
opinion.
Yes,
So
we
you're
do.
30 now, which is great. I'm going to be joining you in November.
Yes, ma'am. Come
um
join the club. It's
Woo,
not scary. It doesn't hurt. Have you
okay.
seen that meme? I reposted it on my birthday because I swear I got so emotional leading up. But anyways, it was a meme.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm scared to oh my God, this tongue twister. I'm scared to turn 30. Does it hurt? I was just laughing so hard. But seriously, like I really thought something crazy was gonna happen. The world was gonna end or something. And I'm like, oh, okay, like this is actually feels pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
anyways.
It's so weird because like I feel like I didn't feel this way years ago, but I like lately, which I've talked
Mm,
ad nauseum about probably why. Like lately, feeling 30 is just like such a dread, and I feel like there's so many things I needed to accomplish, and I'm like, I'm
mm,
not really where I would like to be, quite physically. I'm not where I would
girl.
like to be. So like, I have all this like dread, but like realistically, like most of it is God's timing. Like I can't help that. So it's just kind of like,
Mhm.
what? 30's coming, and like 30's the new 20, they say.
Yes, it is, honey.
30's
Yes.
the new
And
20.
might I add, look at me, like and there's no Botox, no fillers, none of that. And not to say that if you get that, it's wrong because hello, I'm not taking that out of the table, honey. If there's a moment in time where I decide I want to get a little touch up, I'll do it. But as of now, I don't see a huge need for it, but again, that can change. So anyways, just throwing that out there.
You look great.
Thank you. There are 30-year-olds out there that we are still Botox and lip filler free. Again, nothing wrong with it. I might even get a little some, maybe in a few months, who knows? But yeah.
So I'm going to disagree a little bit with that. I do not think any of us need it. We are fine the way we are. Don't get lip filler. If your lips are smaller, it's whatever. If you like, you don't need Botox. Having laugh
Yeah,
lines
you
just
definitely
means you
don't need
laugh
it.
a lot, and that's okay. But if you do get it, I respect that. That's your decision. But I don't think you do.
Yes, you definitely don't.
Or
No one
yeah, I
does.
don't think you do.
But
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
if yeah, I mean if you feel like, doing it, obviously, like it's not whatever, but no one needs it. We're beautiful just the way we are.
Yeah,
Period.
exactly. As long as like the most
And good
important thing is
skincare.
yes, and the most important thing is like your health. So like, if you need to change some things for your health, if you need to sometimes people get Botox for like headaches, okay.
Like
You know,
migraines, yeah,
yeah,
that helps.
migraines. Yeah,
I'm
headaches
also very
are not
scared,
right.
so don't really like needles.
Yeah,
And
and
I couldn't even get a facial, and I was like already crying.
oh. Yeah, so I don't see Botox in the future or lip fillers for you in the future. But
I'm gonna come back, and my face is gonna be different. Just kidding.
um
But
Anyway,
yeah,
okay.
so any advice for our fellow 20-year-olds that you have? Like, what are some things that you've seen?
I'm like,
Are the skies clearer? Do the birds sound
so
sweeter?
I guess I'll preface this by saying, like, before, like, I think 29 was like, oh my gosh, that year was a very emotional year. I think to your point, it's like you're kind of like in limbo because you're not really like in your early 20s, you're not really
Mm-hmm.
30 yet, but you're also like in this weird stage, especially I think being like, obviously, I'm not married, I don't have kids, all of this. Obviously, yes, I'm in a relationship, but I'm not married, I don't have kids. So it's just like this weird spot of just coming to terms with like it's almost like grieving. Like there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
grief with it because it's like you're grieving the life you thought you were gonna have, and you're coming to terms and you're coming to the realization of like where you're at and like how did you get here, for good, the bad, or the worst. Like you just come to the realization, okay, this is my life, and like you have to come to terms with that. So 29 was a very I feel like my last 20, the 20 from like 26 to 29 were just like super like, oh, these are like, you know I'm getting older. Like there's no stopping. And honestly, looking back, like I said, I thought I would be married by 25. I thought there's so many things that I thought were gonna happen, and they didn't. And then there's things that I didn't think would happen, and they did, right? So it's just one of those things where like leading up to it was definitely worse. I wouldn't say worse, but it was more like emotional than actually turning 30. So I think I don't know why I had this idea of like, oh my God, time's running out. And then once I turned 30, I'm like, oh, like it's a whole new world. Like it's a whole new decade. It's like then you start getting hopeful again. You're like, oh wow, like my life, like I have the opportunity to like, what I to learn like what I did in my 20s, the good, the bad, whatever, and create a better future for myself and whatever that looks like. So now you're just like more confident. I don't know, it's like this kind of confidence too that comes with it. And I don't know, I can't speak for everybody else, but that's just
I
me. I'm
can
like,
see it
oh, I'm
in
30
you.
years old. Like, honey, you've lived some things, okay? By the time you're
Yeah.
30, you have lived through some things, through some relationships, through life experiences. I mean, those things are just truly like what's going to carry you into your 30s, and just let whatever good or bad experience, let it shape you, and you know use that and feel that for the better, not for the worse. It's kind of just like a clean slate in a way. You're kind of like, all right, God, like let's do this. And yeah, so my 30s have been, obviously there are things like, you're still going to struggle. I'm not saying, oh my God, you're going to be 30, everything's going to be great.
Yeah. Everything's
But
actually going to line up the moment you turn 30, you guys. You didn't know that?
exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel different, mature. Look at me, I'm like, you're a little bit more confident. Like I said, you lived through some things, but I guess just kind of breaking it down. Look at me, I'm like breaking it down. Just like a few pointers. I'd probably say like the biggest thing for me, and I'll do like five, but the biggest thing is obviously to like keep God first. I think if I would tell my 20-year-old self is to keep God first and to really have a relationship with Him, because that's really going to set the tone for every other relationship you have. And like, even if I think your 20s, you also start realizing like your childhood and how you were raised, and a lot of the things that have affected you from your childhood. Not everyone, I mean, everyone's has had like, you know, some kind of, I want to say trauma, but just different upbringings, right? So I
Yeah.
think like in your 20s, you start kind of realizing like, oh, like I'm this way because I was raised this way, or like blah, blah, blah. And so I think like, even though you might not have had the perfect parents, we all serve a perfect God. And like, I think if you have a relationship with Him, you can be like, oh, okay, like my parents were just adults. Then you come to terms with like, oh, my parents were just adults trying to do their best, you know? So, I think having a relationship with God is like the most important thing, because it's going to set the tone for every other relationship in your life, and keep you from keeping you on the right path. And obviously life is not easy, and your 20s are just so they're so just like, I don't know how to explain it. But there's so much like ups and downs. You're really just trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure out life and trying to figure out like this adulthood, that you
Mm-hmm.
really need to have that faith that keeps you grounded and keep a good support system, like your family. Like for me, it was
Mm-hmm.
always my family. Like anytime something big or small would happen, like I always had God, and then obviously my family. So, but yeah, what do you think? What about you? What would you say?
Okay. I'll
Would you
just
agree?
I would agree. I'm gonna echo off of what you said. I think like a relationship with God is so important because it's kind of like the thing you have to lean back on when everything
Hmm.
goes haywire. When like your 20s, like you said, are kind of, you're growing, you're learning yourself, you're the way our society has like, I guess, I don't know, has turned is you're an adult, but you're not, like, we're not the same type of adults our grandparents were in their 20s.
Yeah,
So
times change.
yeah, so your 20s are just kind of like, I don't want to be too, I think, was it Kylie Jenner that said it's a time of realizing. Sometimes we just need to realize. But I do think it
That's me
is
every day.
it's
They're
but
very,
I
they're transformational. That's what I was gonna say.
transformational, that's the right word. Yeah, and I agree, you need God to do that with you, because there's going to be
I mean, shoot,
such,
especially right now. I need God
yeah,
every day.
there's going to be such dark times, and there'll be happy times, and you're going to need God during the happy times to humble you too. I mean, that's something that we all need to be. I need to be humbled constantly. Maybe not constantly,
Yeah.
but like, I do need to be humbled sometimes. So you need God with you in the good and the bad.
The good and the bad. Seriously, guys. Like, I think and obviously speaking from someone who is not perfect and I messed up a lot, which is actually my second point, but we won't get to that right now. Yeah, you're gonna need God to keep you on the right path. And because, if you go to college, you're just deciding so many things in your 20s and they're just
Mm-hmm.
so pivotal. And I wish that I had taken my relationship with God, more seriously, honestly, especially in the beginning of my college years. I was kind of a
Mm-hmm.
little wild. I mean, I never went off like the rails, but still, I wish I would have, prioritized that more for sure. And like my prayer life, and that also brings you godly friends and community and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely keep God first. And then my other thing, my point was, I think it's a huge thing, and like it's not being afraid to fail. And
Mm.
granted, when we were in our like I act like I'm like 55, but when we were in our 20s, like I mean, Snapchat and social media, well, it was there, but it wasn't, I feel like, as prominent as now.
Mm.
And so I just feel like the whole comparison and everything, it's almost like you're so afraid to even try or to even put yourself out there because you're so afraid to fail and what others, I mean, and I think for us it was more like we just didn't want to be failures to ourselves and to our parents. But I feel like now that's added a different element because it's like now you're afraid to be seen by your friends or whatever online. Like, let's say you want to be a social media content creator, but you're like, oh my God, like I'm afraid to fail. Like, what if I don't make it, or what if I don't do this? And now all of a sudden you have your videos and everything online for everyone to see. And like that's something that even I had to kind of get used to in the beginning. It's like, oh, my coworkers might see my video and they probably think I'm like silly or something. Not being afraid to fail. Not me trying to look at the time, like, yeah, don't be afraid to fail. I swear I had the best times and moments in my 20s because I literally decided to go for it. And not being afraid to follow your dreams. And even if it looks silly and dumb to other people, as long as you believe in yourself and have that confidence that you can do anything, you can literally do anything. I remember I came from a dancing world, so I used to be in drill team that was like really big here in Texas. And I decided to pursue that outside of college. So when I was in college, I had friends in the industry that were cheerleaders, and I was like, hey, that looks fun. I want to try it. And I'm so thankful, girl. Like looking back, I'm like, wow, I honestly can't believe my 21-year-old self did that. Like, I really did that. I was that girl.
Yeah.
And even now in my 30s, I'm like, oh, I've been 30 for like 2 seconds. But like, even now, I always think back to like what my 21-year-old self was doing. And honestly, at 21, I was not out, at the bar getting crazy. I was literally doing my costume and practicing my dancing to go to these auditions and pursue my dreams. And I'm like, wow, like I am so proud of my 21-year-old self for actually doing that. I think I would be more shy now to try out for a team. So yeah, never be afraid to fail, because at least that means you're trying, and you're gonna do a lot of things in your 20s that you think, oh my God, this is gonna be it, and you end up loving it, and then there's gonna be things that you're like, oh, why did I even try that? But hey, at least you tried, and even if you failed, now you know what you like and what you don't like, and you just never know how life's gonna turn out. So
Yeah. I just, before you get to the next part, I want to add one little part to that.
yeah,
Especially if you are single and you don't have any like real responsibilities. Obviously, pay your bills. But like if you want to go skydiving and you don't have
that's
to
good.
be I'm just an example, and you don't have to be
Yeah,
home to breastfeed your child, like if you don't have those type of like responsibilities, now's the time, make the mistakes, do the things. That's been my motto the last, I'll say, like maybe 3 years. I've been like, you know what, I have no responsibility. Like if some, well, I don't want to say, never mind, I'm not going to say that, but like I have no responsibilities. Like it's, I'm going to do this thing and it really doesn't affect anyone but me. I mean,
yes.
you guys know what I mean. So I'm gonna do
No,
it. I'm
I
gonna
don't.
try it.
Absolutely. And that's one of my things that I was going to say too. Just to kind of add on, is just like life is beautiful and then life is short. So don't
Mm-hmm.
take it too seriously. I think a lot of us, like, especially if you're kind of a people pleaser or overachiever, you kind of tend to think a lot, think a lot, think a lot, because you're so afraid to do something because maybe it's not going to work out, or like you're thinking of all these scenarios. But I'm like, honestly, your 20s, like, those are literally what they're for. I mean, obviously, don't be crazy and like never take anything serious, but there is a time and for everything. So like, yeah, book that trip. Go skydiving with your friends. I mean, go freaking travel the world. And
Yeah.
I
Start
remember
that
like in college.
podcast.
Exactly. And I think we just have such an advantage now because there's so many like things that we could be a part of, and you can even go travel by yourself, and not really by yourself, because I'm sure there's like apps where you can connect with people, and like, there's like travel groups and stuff. So you really,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like my fondest memories is like doing like spontaneous stuff with my friends. And again, I've
Mm-hmm.
been, I was single for a lot of my 20s. I mean, I was in and out of relationships, which that's a whole different podcast. But yeah, like I remember for my 19th birthday, I was just out of college. I was starting community college actually, and I remember me and my friend, we were in the library, and then all of a sudden we were just like, oh girl, I think New York would be so fun. Like we just started talking about New York, and then we literally booked a flight that same night at the library, and then we flew out like a few days later.
I love
And it was
it.
just like, girl. And
That's
I'm like,
life.
seriously, yes. And I was just thinking about this because it made me reflect. So I remember we were talking about what that podcast episode is going to be about tonight. So I was just kind of thinking like, oh, let me go down memory lane in my 20s. I'm like, honestly, like it was fun. I lived in a different city. I mean, in 20, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but Silence Smile. This is my low key. High key plug. But if you follow me for a while, I mean, you've been through it all, the college life, the Dynamo. I was a cheerleader, and then in 2018 I moved to Dallas. So I lived in Dallas for 2 years. I literally packed my bags and left because I felt like in my heart I knew Houston's gonna be home, but I just always knew I wanted to live in a different city. I didn't even care if it was still in Texas. And like I can honestly say that I'm so glad I did that. Like it really shapes your character. It like changes you for the better. You learn so much about being like especially as a woman, like moving out on your own. Like that's such a boss girl move.
A
Now that
hundred
I think about it.
percent. Yeah.
Again, maybe, and then it's part of being in your 20s that you're not really like self-aware of like maybe like the consequences or like the danger, because it is kind of dangerous to live alone in a new city. But I wasn't scared. Like, and if you would tell
Yeah.
me that now, I would be a little bit more like, oh, like thinking about it a little bit more. It's not that just easy to pack up and go. And now I get it why people are like, if you're single, honestly, the world is your oyster. Like go live in a different city, go freaking live in Europe for a month or 2 months, whatever, because it's like you're never gonna get these years back,
Yeah.
period. So
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I kind of did a little bit of everything. Um,
What's
what else
number
was I
three?
gonna say? Number three, friends. So this is kind of huge. I put like friends. It's more to have quality over quantity,
Amen.
and yes, ma'am. And I think that, and this is something I really had to kind of tough pill to swallow is that like not every friendship is going to carry you through your entire life. Some friendships are seasonal, some friendships are just what they are. Like sometimes it's just a coworker friendship, right? You guys kind of have a little bit of banter at work and that's just it, you know. Sometimes we like I remember I used to like well, it's not that I like I get very attached to people. Like I'm just kind of like I'm a big lover girl. So, you know, once I like you, I'm like I want to keep you forever and ever. And so it's hard for me to kind of come to terms with like not everyone's going to be a part of your life forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally sucks. And sometimes it's like, you know how they're like, "Oh, fresh they're like, have you been through a heartbreak?" Oh, but you haven't been through a friendship like a breakup. And honestly, friendship breakups hurt, especially when you
Yeah.
don't know why. Nothing really happened. There wasn't a fight or anything. You guys just kind of both, you know, fell off or whatever. And honestly, as long as you have one or two good friends, like that's really all you need. Like, don't be worried about, oh my gosh, I gotta change myself, or I gotta change the way I think, or I gotta hide parts of who I am because I want them to accept me. I think a lot of your 20s, you walk around like wanting to be seen and heard and accepted, but
That's
you
good.
kind of
Yeah.
learn in your 30s that you're like, oh, it's okay for people not to like me. And it's okay, you know, I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And I also don't want to have to hide who I am and what I think and what I believe to keep that friendship. Because if they really were true friends, they would, you know, we would be able to disagree and still be friends, you know? So you kind of just have to love people where they're at and take them for what they are. That goes for relationships too. But yeah,
Yeah.
quality over quantity for sure.
Yeah. And just piggybacking off of that really quick, um, sometimes friends are just your friends you hang out and do stuff with, and that's okay. You don't have to have, and I learned this last couple of years in my 20s, you don't
Especially as
have
an
to,
overshare.
yeah, say that again.
Like if you're an overshare,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, if
you
you're an
know,
oversharer, like, and I'm sometimes an oversharer. Sometimes I'll say stuff and I'm like, oh my God, why did I say
girl,
that?
I'm an overshare every day.
But like some friends are just friends that you do stuff with and you don't have to be super deep with them, and that's okay. And
Yeah,
as long as you do have those good, godly Christian friendships, people that will hold you accountable, that you can still laugh with, you know, you don't want people, your whole relationship is like them, you know, like
yeah,
beating you over the head, but like you want people you can laugh with, you can have fun with. As long as you have a couple of those, and then you can have tons of people that, oh, I'm going to the park, anybody want to come with me? Like, spend time with those people, but they don't have to be your close friends that know every single personal thing about you. And that's, I think that's just a huge tip. That's what I learned. And I feel so much peace realizing that. It just brought me so
yeah.
much peace.
I love that. And yeah, it is tough because like I said, if you're someone that like you get attached or you just, you know, you love having that, you know, companionship, friendship or whatever. But it's okay, you know, like things happen and, you know, you just have to be thankful for that season that they were in your life. So
Yeah,
I think
100%.
that's also super important. Another, and obviously, sometimes people just change or we drift apart and we want different things, et cetera, et cetera. But the last two is kind of they're kind of the same, but actually they're not the same. The fourth, we kind of already touched on it, but it was like your beauty, true beauty comes from God and the
Mm,
way that you feel about yourself. And
hmm.
honestly, beauty is fading. Like you're not always gonna be 20. You're not, like that's something that even right now I'm like, oh wow, like you know, you are getting older and you are getting a little bit more, you know, I would say wrinkly, but you know what I mean. You're getting older
Yeah.
and you're not always gonna be this young. So don't dwell on like I want to change this, I want to change that. I hate myself, I hate my body. You know, but really learn how to have a good healthy relationship with yourself. And if you wouldn't say that something like mean or rude to other people and about their appearance, like don't say that to yourself, you know, and be graceful with yourself. There's so many things that change with your physical body, you know, you gain weight, you lose weight, but just like loving yourself through the entire process. And I know that's easier said than done. Um, but yeah, I mean, truly, like, I think positive self-talk is something that even I was like, oh, I'm super confident. Like, I'm not, you know, I don't have any self-esteem issues. But then you realize, like, oh, maybe I do. Like, then you start kind of noticing, like, maybe I do. And just reminding yourself that, you know, beauty comes from God and He made us all beautiful in our own ways. And really believing that in your heart so that nothing or no one that anybody else says will affect you.
Mm.
But obviously life's not perfect and we're always going to have moments of like, self-doubt and stuff, but just again, give yourself grace, and you might not feel beautiful every single day, but just remind yourself that true beauty is on the inside, and it's because God, gives that to us. So that's just my little pep talk. Um, what else? I guess that the last thing is just like this could probably be a whole other podcast, but just relationships.
Ooh,
Dating and
spicy.
relationships.
We should have a
Yes.
relationship episode. Like, we haven't done one. We should have a
Mm,
relationship episode.
we definitely should. I think just like uh, you know, it's okay to like date, and it's okay that, if you're not married, like the world does not end just because you're not married and you don't have kids. Like, I think I was a little bit more emotional about that when I was like 26, 27, because I felt like 30 was just so daunting and like, oh my God, I'm so old, my life is over. But again, now being on this side, it's like, oh, like I still have time. Like the world didn't end. And, once we realized that, like, why would you try to rush that process? If God hasn't brought that person to your life, it's for a reason, and I truly believe that. And it's like, instead of, I wish I wouldn't have paid so much attention and just, you know, I guess went through all the heartache. Obviously, it turns out for the best, right? But I just wish if I could tell myself, my younger self, something, it'd just be like, don't don't dwell so much on having a relationship just to say that you have someone,
Mm-hmm.
and just knowing your worth. Like, I wish, obviously, you go through these experiences and you learn better and you do better. But I just wish I could tell myself, like, those boys that are like giving you a hard time or whatever, like, they're not worth it. Like, they are not worth it, sis. They're not worth the heartache. They're not worth, like, if someone's treating you poorly and you have to literally fight tooth and nail for them to like notice you or to treat you like a decent human being, like, it is not worth it, girl. Like, just be single, be content in the season that God has you in. And, again, everything happens in God's timing. I know that's kind of cheesy. And for a lot of us, we've been waiting, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, it's like just being content and truly happy with who you are. Again, that goes back to like having a relationship with God, and, having an identity that's rooted in God, so that you can go out into the world, even if you're dating and like it doesn't work out or whatever, you're like, hey, I'm putting healthy boundaries up, and whoever wants to be in my life um wouldn't cost me to go through all this heartbreak. um so yeah, that's kind of like my little 2 cents. But yeah, the world doesn't end just because you're 30 and you're not married or have kids. It's all in God's timing, and it's like I tell my sister and I tell everybody, like, I would much rather be single than be in the wrong relationship, or
A hundred
worse,
percent.
be in the wrong marriage. Like, can you imagine
Yeah.
like waking up and be like, this is not the person that I should have
Yeah.
married? Like, that's
It's
even more like scary to me.
the saying, it's better to marry late than marry wrong, is very true. And I just and that's the last, we're gonna wrap it up now,
Yeah.
but I just want to add to that really quick, everybody. Like, um, you know, I'm not in a relationship, so I'm gonna have Isabel like really like, we'll end on that. But it's so important to not get caught up in what so many people are saying about like still being single in your 30s, that you settle. And I don't mean settle as in like, oh, he's not 6 feet, because like that rule is ridiculous. That rule is ridiculous. I mean, sure, we all like it, but like, not dating someone because of that, that's dumb and stupid. But I mean, like, not settling, or settling in the sense of like, well, he doesn't really go to church, or like, yeah, I
Right.
mean, he yells at me and he punched the wall once, and like, it was wrong, but like, I really want to be married. Like, don't do that. Like,
Like, overlooking the red flags. Yeah.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
who they
don't
see,
do
like,
that.
yes. And I
It's
mean,
not
again,
worth
i'm
it.
gonna i'm gonna hush because I can literally go on for years. But no, seriously, like, who they are is who they are. Like,
Yep.
don't try to
Don't
paint.
date
And
potential.
guys will, exactly. And I think a lot of women, especially in our 20s, we love projects, and you don't need to
Mm-hmm.
be dating a project. You need to be dating a
You are
partner
not a
that's,
foster girlfriend.
you're not a foster, exactly. And we are not Bob the Builders, okay? Let his
Mm-mm.
mama didn't raise him, then that's not your responsibility.
No.
Like I said, if I wanted a child, I would have one, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't. So So you want a partner that is equally as invested and is leading you, right? So
Yep.
it's like, and honestly, like I said, it's not supposed to be this like crazy heartache. One day you're crying, one day you're not. Like,
Right.
it's really not. And I think a lot of the times, like the media portrays that. Like I actually was watching a show. I love Sex and the City, by the way, but it's not the best show to watch. But it's just crazy how like the media has kind of put that in our heart. Like it's supposed to be this fairy tale, and it's whatever, and get swept off your feet. And honestly, no, like you need to be very critical about who you're dating, and
Mm-hmm.
like what you see is what you get. Like if a
Mm-hmm.
guy is not doing the things that you want him to do now, it is not going to change when he's engaged. It's definitely not going to change when he's married. Like if he's not even
Mm-hmm.
taking you out on dates now, he's not going to take you on dates when you're married, and vice
Tell
versa.
him.
Whatever he's doing now, that's what you need to be expecting, and nothing more or less. So but yeah, it's much better to be single than to be with the wrong person, or better yet, be in the wrong marriage. Or, there are friends, obviously, Mile, you're 29, so you're almost my age. Like, there's friends that have been married and are divorced. I mean, I don't know about your circle, but like,
Yeah.
I know friends of friends that, like, I mean, people are my age and
Yeah.
they're divorced. So, like,
Yeah. I know
and
quite
no,
a few
no
people
shame to
divorced in their
anyone. I'm
20s.
just saying,
Yeah.
like, don't feel like you have to rush, and definitely
Yeah.
like overlook things in your partner just because, oh my goodness, I don't want to be that bride, that 30-year-old bride. Which now I'm
Yeah.
like, honey, people think I'm in my 20s anyways. I'm just kidding.
Right. You're gonna be beautiful. I cannot wait for the announcement. Hopefully, you'll like
Stop.
send me the exclusive or something. Maybe we can do a blog
Girl,
post. I don't know. But
you're
I'm excited for
so
you.
silly. Thanks, Queen. Thanks. I'm being delusional. No, I'm just kidding.
No, y'all,
No, but
she loves this
no,
man.
and I will say that I feel like and that's the note I'll end on, but anything can happen. And okay, look at me, I'm like, anything can happen. Your life can literally change in a year. And I'm not just talking like relationship, just like your life can literally change. You could be here now, and then like in a year from now living your best life in Europe. You just never know what, like a whole year you could be living a totally different life. You could be
Yeah.
married, you could be engaged, you have a kid, you could be broken up with, but we're gonna end a positive. No.
Ideally, marriage is what we're thinking a year from now. But yes, everybody, thank you all so much for listening. I
Love
hope you
y'all.
enjoyed this episode and hope you got a lot out of it. Isabel, thanks so much for coming on. Hopefully, we can in the
Thank you,
next week or
Queen.
so we can do another one. Tell everybody how
Absolutely.
to find you again.
Oh, I thought you said how fine I am. I'm like, girl, we're
Oh,
done. Like, okay. Um, yes. So I am on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram. What else?
like
Yeah,
to know
Style
it.
and Smile. Oh, like to know it. It's gonna be the same handle. So Style and Smile, STYLE, ANDSMILEE at. Oh wait, that's my email. But yeah, Style and Smile. That's where you can find me for brand partnerships or collaborations. Go ahead and click the link in my bio. No, but truly,
Yes.
thanks for
Well,
having me, Mel.
thanks so much for coming on. Everybody, don't forget to give us a 5-star revate. Whoa. I was about to say revating. A,
I had 2 cups of coffee, so I'm like with you, sister.
a 5-star rating and a review. And just tell us how much you love us. All right, you guys have a
Yes.
great
Blow,
day,
blow
night.
up our egos. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
please do. Have a great day, night, evening, however, wherever you're listening. Bye.
Bye, guys. All right.